You know, we all have a story to tell. Whether it's a short or long one, it's definitely a unique story. And by sharing your story, you can change someone or many people's lives. Your life experiences are worth sharing with the world. And Beauty of Colors podcast is the place to share and change lives. So, welcome to Beauty of Colors podcast, Eram. It's great to have you on the show.
Well, it's wonderful to meet you, Cleanne, and thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored.
You're very welcome. So, Aram, tell the listeners about you and how did you become a voice for transformation?
Yeah, thank you, Cleanne. I moved here to the States about 30 years ago. A very typical story for women from my culture. I was originally born and raised in Pakistan. So I moved to the States because I got married. It was pretty much an arranged marriage. And it turned out not, it turned out to be an abusive marriage. I had one daughter from that marriage. I got divorced on my birthday at the age of 30. I filed for divorce. And then I remarried. Unfortunately, that marriage also ended under similar circumstances. And now I had two daughters, not one. And as a single mom, I faced bankruptcy. I had four different lawsuits against me at that same time. So one being the divorce case from my second marriage. I was the star witness in domestic violence case in which I was the victim as well. And then on top of that, my divorce lawyers sued me for lack of payment because I ran out of money. I didn't have any money left. And then the bankruptcy. And so I had all these different things going on, had no money. And at that time, Cleanne, the only thing I had working for me was I used to listen to telesummits. And for those of your viewers that don't know what telesummits are, in those days, we didn't have podcasts like this. So we used to have these audio podcasts, you can call them, but they were called summits. I would listen to them 4 to 5 hours a day because in my life, that was the only source for positivity because everything else around me was in shambles and it was getting destroyed. So I started listening to those summits in mind sciences teachers and spiritual teachers. And slowly but surely, I started to realize that, oh my God, I don't need to be a victim of circumstances. And that if I can take responsibility for my life and the role that I play in all these circumstances, then I can certainly turn it around. So that started me on the journey. I started my own business doing a telesummit in June of 2012. So I think it's 13 years now. In this June, it will be 13 years. It's been running consistently all those years. And about 5 years ago, I started a business that is called Jamali.love. It's Jamali means beautiful. And so it's beauty.love. That's the translation, where I serve as a coach for the empowerment and transformation of Muslim women.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that in a nutshell is my story.
Oh, that's an incredible story, Iram. So, how do you approach healing young Muslim women? How
Mhm.
do you help them to build their confidence and their leadership skills? Are you taking what your life experience and are you sharing that with them? So, give us some of the steps that you take
Yeah.
in order to get them to.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Cleanne. Sharing inspiring stories is wonderful because a lot of times it serves as kind of a permission that if she can do it, I can do it too. So that's wonderful. And there is absolute need for that. However, what I teach, Cleanne, because I have spent many years learning from some of the best mind sciences teachers and life coaches in the world, I
Mhm.
do know that at the end of the day, really how your life or the quality of life you're going to live is directly proportional to the mastery you have of your mind. So, in other words, the more masterful you are about how to control your thinking, the more masterful you will be in how to navigate through life. So that's basically what I teach, Clean. And because I'm a Muslim, I'm from an Islamic background. When I first started, I was a rebel. I don't even think I could call myself a Muslim at that time. I was very, very upset with Islam because I thought Islam disempowers women, it oppresses women. And so I was not happy with God. So, but over the years, as I learned and I researched more, I realized that a lot of the message of Islam has been hijacked, and the true message of Islam actually really empowered women. So, what I do is I combine what I have learned in the mind sciences with Islamic spirituality, which you might call Sufism, and with that combination, it is a very profound transformation experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what barriers? I know Muslim w women do face a lot of barriers. What barriers do Muslim women face, and how can you help them overcome these barriers? Some of the barriers that you have overcome.
Yeah. Another great question, Clean. Thank you. I'm enjoying answering these. The barriers that Muslim women face, Clean, are the barriers we all face as women. These are what you have faced, as a woman of color, you have faced this, but just in general, any woman can relate to these. So the number one barrier I would say that Muslim women face, especially the ones living in the West, is that they have a conflict in their identity as a Muslim woman and as an empowered, educated, professional woman who wants to achieve her dreams. And what she feels is that the two are in conflict, that I have to choose one or the other. So that's the number one belief that I help them to shift, is that no, Islam does not expect you to be this submissive wife to a husband who can abuse you or whatever he wants to do. That's not what Islam expects you to do. First and foremost, Islam expects you to respect your own dignity.
Mhm.
And if anybody is abusing your dignity, Islam expects you to fight for that if you can. So that they usually just go, huh? What? It's like, yeah, that's the true Islamic message. So I help them to remember that in God's eyes, you are equally as valuable as a man. That God does not make a gender distinction. So I find, as surprising as it is, because most of my clients, Clean, are Muslim women living in the West. They've been raised in the West. And it's really surprising to me that they still believe this notion that somehow Islam considers us inferior to women. And that's very damaging, because if you grow up with that, you're going to have a lot of self-esteem issues. You're going to have a lot of issues with self-confidence.
Mhm.
So these could be women who are highly educated, even doctors, they're making great money, and yet they have really serious self-esteem issues. So that's the first area that I work on, is to help them get past that you are beautiful, you're amazing, you are just an incredible creation of God, and He loves you and values you so much.
Mhm.
Now it's time for you to fall in love with yourself and appreciate that. So that's the first area I work on. And once we do that, then I basically work on their limiting beliefs of, like I face this often, Client, like, can I have it all as a Muslim woman? And that's a loaded question. First of all, we're not here to have it all. Like, I don't know anybody who has it all. They may pretend like it, but in reality, we all, some of us get one set of things or circumstances, and another person will get something else. It's a matter of, are you satisfied with what you have? Can you be grateful for what you have? I feel I have a fantastic life. I feel I'm so grateful. I could never have imagined the kind of life I have. I have everything that I deeply desire. However, since my second divorce, I have not had a loving partner by my side to help me in any of those things. So whatever I have created that without the help of a man. So that's something I don't have. But is that something that creates unhappiness in my life? No. Ideally, would I have liked to have had a loving partner? Yes. But that doesn't stop me from from enjoying this beautiful life and for, every day being grateful for all the blessings I have. So that's the other mindset that I have to help them get past, that forget about what the society expects from you. Forget about what other people expect from you. What do you expect from you? What do you want to create in life? What creates joy deep in your soul? Because what your soul desires is the same thing that God desires from you. Otherwise, your soul wouldn't desire it. So follow that. And I know, you've probably heard this from other coaches too, but when I'm dealing with Muslim women, hearing it from another woman who also happens to be a Muslim and is a lover of God,
Mhm.
it just gives them that solace, like, okay, you know what? I can trust her. I can trust her. She's like this older auntie, right? Like I'm like this aunt that they wish they had, right? So I can tell them, it's okay, sweetheart. You're not going to be a bad Muslim just because, you don't want to get married at an early age because you want to pursue a career. It's okay for you to want to be the best in your career. It's okay. You have every right to desire that. So yeah, those are some of the most common objections that I get from my audience.
Wow, that's powerful, Iram. So, Iram, do you just focus just on Muslim women, or if somebody comes to you and that person is not Muslim, would you kind of take them in and coach them as well?
Yes, yes, I have had since 2012, I have been working with women from all over the world. So I work with anyone and everyone. I also work with men too, by the way. And
Okay.
some of my best clients, some of my best students have been men.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, anybody, because these are universal principles of truth, Clean, that they work for everybody. So yeah, it's a joy. It's an honor to be able to work with people from different cultures as well.
Sounds great. So, tell us a little bit about your book. Do you have a book out there? It would be nice if you did. Do you have a book
Can't
coming?
tell you how many times I have heard that, Clea. And I'm a speaker. I'm not a writer, so I have been procrastinating about it for almost a decade. However, I did just hire a ghostwriter. So I figured there's no way, if I'm left to my own devices, this book is never going to get written. And I don't want to just write one book. I will write a book about my life story because a lot of people have asked for it. But I also want to write a book about, and this might surprise you, but the necessity of having good men, you
Oh,
know?
okay.
Yeah, because a lot of times people think, oh, because she's been through abusive marriages and she's an activist for Muslim women's rights and the oppression and da da da. So she must hate men. And actually, the opposite is true. I love men, and I would not be who I am today without having some beautiful, good men in my life. My dad being an example, my brothers, I have wonderful friends who are just these beautiful, masculine, good men.
Mhm.
And I think the world needs that today, Cleanne. And especially if I'm an activist for the rights of Muslim women, the fastest way to get there
Forgot,
is is
man.
yes, it's if I need to get this message out to men, and enough with, pitting us against each other. This is not about men versus women or vice versa. It's about becoming each other's allies, because we need everybody to be happy in life. Relationships are important. So that book is actually really close to my heart, and I want to get that one out probably faster than my own life story.
Okay, sounds good. Wow.
Stay tuned.
So do you know when you're gonna get it out? Do you have like a time frame or you just,
Yes.
oh, you do.
So the
Okay.
first book, which is about my life story, because that work has started already, I'm planning to get it out by the end of this year.
Okay.
And then the second book will probably just write itself very quickly. So early next year will be the second book.
Sound excellent. So when you do get them out, let me know so I can back on
I
track.
will for sure. I will. And I plan to write it as a, kind of how to self-help book as well, for not just women from everywhere, but also for men. Because what I have learned if I could just summarize it into two things. Like I said, mastery of mind is mastery of life.
Mhm.
So how do we behave when we do have blessings in life? Because if you allow me a couple of minutes, I can elaborate on that.
Go ahead.
So yeah, thank you. So when we get what we call good things or blessings in life, a lot of times we don't know how to enjoy them. We don't know how to appreciate them. So let's say that, in a certain area of life, I had a problem and I wanted to get a solution. And instead of getting a solution that was 100%, I got a solution that was 70%. So am I gonna look at the 70% I got, or am I gonna focus on the 30% I don't have? Which is what a lot of us do, because that's how we were conditioned into thinking. That's smart. Focus on what you don't have so you can improve on it. But there's a difference between improving on something and just focusing on not having. And what if that 70% was only 50%? Then what? Are we going to appreciate it? Or what if it was only 20%? That's still an improvement of 20%. So the art is to actually appreciate what we do have. Somebody once said, true wisdom is about learning the things that we have while we have them.
Yeah.
So first of all, learning how to appreciate the blessings. And then number two, not becoming so attached to them that we are so dependent that now we start fearing, oh my God, what happens if I lose this, right? So now we're like not enjoying the 70%, but also focusing on the 30% we don't have, and then also living in the fear of losing the 70%. So
Mhm.
we destroy the quality of life we have. We try to become very controlling, which destroys our relationships.
Mhm.
So that's the number one area, really understanding how to enjoy blessings in life. And then the second thing is how to navigate through challenges. How do you go through difficulties in life? Because if there's any coach out there that teaches, I'm going to teach you how to get rid of all your problems and how not to have difficulties. Run in the opposite direction, because nobody has figured that out. Everybody has difficulties. I do too, even to this day. I go through different challenges all the time. So then the mastery is how to keep the mindset in a way that you remain balanced, that you don't freak out like, oh my God, my life is going to come to an end because I have this big problem.
Mhm.
No, a lot of times, if you can remain calm and balanced in a state of submission, asking for guidance, and just waiting to just let those, panicky emotions just settle down, in that place, you will receive inspiration. You will see solutions. You will be able to find solutions. And a lot of times, what you're going to find is that actually there's a hidden opportunity that is going to actually up level your life once you have tackled and found the right solutions and you go through them. That I feel is mastery of life. If you can figure out how to do these two things, navigate these two areas of life, you will have mastery of life, which means you will have more contentment, a sense of joy. I don't say happiness because happiness is more of a
Yeah.
fleeting feeling, right? It's more of an emotion we enjoy, but this sense of contentment and knowing that always there's a very, a being that is fully capable, much higher than you, and he has your back or she has your back. You're not alone, you know?
So,
So that's, yeah, go ahead.
so Iram, this is the two things that you focus on when you do the coaching with different women or with men. These are the two things that you focus on.
Yes, so these two things, of course, need a lot of mindset shifts in other things that I use, the different tools. But overarching, this is what I would say. If these are the two areas I help people to eventually get to.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds great. So,
Yeah.
how can the listeners get in contact with you, Iram? And do you have any speaking engagements coming up pretty soon? What is your website, your social media? So just let us know so we can
Yeah.
get in touch
Yeah.
with you and connect with
Um,
you. Mhm.
The best way really is my website is jamali.love. That's JAMALI.love. And my social media handles are under my name, EramSaeed. So on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and I have a lot of my videos there, a lot of coaching. There are courses that people can buy also.
Mhm.
There's a 30 Days to Transformation course, which is our flagship course, which literally transforms a person's life within 30 days.
Mhm.
Um, and as far as other speaking engagements, I actually am not doing much right now because I have a major overhaul going on in my businesses. We're shifting a lot to AI and changing our systems and everything like that. But probably in fall, I will start again.
Okay. So do you have or have you ever had a retreat for like Muslim women to come together? Have you ever had that, or are you thinking of doing something like that in the future?
Yes, I have had those, and there is one that I do which people love is called the breakthrough session. So
Okay.
that's where they come and they spend um, 5 days with me. So it could be in a group setting or in a private setting. So they can, if they go to my website, they can message us for that. We typically wait to get two or three people to do a group session. And in fall, I am going to be doing regular retreats. I want to do a Rumi retreat, so I want to teach the Sufi principles of life mastery,
Mhm.
and we'll have the regular schedule posted in fall
Okay.
for all the different retreats that we're going to be doing. Yeah.
Sounds great. Excellent. So, Iram, do you have any last words for the listeners on how to align their spiritual life with the professional life?
That is so beautiful. That's one of the things I normally say in the West, Cleanne, is who took spirit out of spirituality? I am a lover of God.
Mhm.
I'm a lover of spirit. I live and breathe that every day everything I do. So for me, these two areas are not separate, Cleanne. So it's a lot of times it's like, okay, here's the area of my life where I do spirituality. And then here's my professional life and I do professional life here. For me, they're just cohesive, they're commingled. Everything is just harmonious. The way I run my business, for example, it has been with the blessing of God. I'm very grateful. It's a multi-million-dollar business. For many years, I'm the CEO, but I run it on the business model of Divine Feminine, which is very collaborative. It is a lot of feminine energy there, of course, a lot of intuitive energy, inspiration. So we do use a lot of, hard numbers and we have KPIs and all of that stuff, but there's a lot of space for the creativity of the feminine to show up. And a lot of times it's men who have that creativity as well. We cultivate an environment of absolute transparency and authenticity. So what that means is that everybody has the freedom to be who they are. When I'm picking people for different job descriptions, I typically have them take personality tests because I really want them to be happy in what they're doing. I want them to flourish. And I love to build people up because I can't help it. I'm a life coach. So they have to do it anyway with, even if they're working for me. So for me, spirituality is in everything I do. It's not just in my personal life or in my relationships or my professional life. It's in everything I do. Does that answer your question? Did I
Yes,
answer it? Okay, good.
yes, you did. Well,
Yeah,
what?
sometimes because you're in it, so you're like, huh, okay, and so you don't know if you're answering it correctly or not.
Yeah, you did. Well, what an inspirational story, Iram. And it was a pleasure having you on Beauty of Colors podcast.
Leanne, it's just been an absolute joy. I'm so grateful for the work that you are doing. Thank you for everything that you do and for the light and the joy that you're bringing to the world. God bless you.